The 5 greatest clubs in the football history. The 5 greatest clubs in the history of football. Get to know them. The 5 greatest clubs in the history of football. Sports Kida published a report in which it touched on the greatest clubs in the history of football, which have a legacy full of achievements and coronations over the decades. To include to the list of these clubs the 5 greatest clubs that had the ability to extend their influence and acquire most of the local and continental championships titles. The site said that the success rate of any team is measured based on the number of titles it won in its history, as well as continuing to win and being present on the local and international arenas. Although that was not enough, the value of the players who wore the club's shirt is also included in the process of classifying it in the list of the best clubs ever in the history of the game. 5th place. The site decided that the English club Manchester United ranked 5th on the list of the best clubs in the history of football, where he managed to achieve 20 league titles and 3 European Champions League championships to the balance of his achievements since its founding in 1878. The club also won the FA Cup on 12 different occasions. Since the 50s of the last century, the Red Devils have been writing their history under the leadership of the Scotsman Matt Busby in golden letters. However, the Devils' plane crash in Munich in 1958 claimed the lives of many of his best players and glories. On the other hand, the team witnessed a qualitative boom in the 80s at the hands of Scotsman Alex Ferguson, who led the Devils to 13 league titles and 2 Champions League titles. He was credited with developing players such as Cristiano Ronaldo, Ryan Giggs, and other historical players. 4th place. The site also mentioned that the 4th place in this list went to the German club Bayern Munich, which has dominated the local championship since its founding in 1900. The best example of the greatness of the ancient Bavarian team is its crowning of the German Football League on 28 occasions. In addition to winning the title of the oldest continental competitions on 5 occasions. Champions League. The dominance of the Bavarian team is not limited to certain periods only, but the name Bayern has been shining in continental and international forms for many decades. We can say that the 70s of the last century represented the most prosperous period for the German club, where he managed to obtain 3 consecutive European Champions League titles between 1974 and 1976, thanks to legendary players like Gerd Müller, Paul Breitner, and Sepp Maier. The 3rd place, and 3rd came to Italian club Milan, whose continental crowning was the credit for occupying the seat of the best Italian team in history. Suffice it to say that the Rossoneri won the Champions League on 7 occasions, in addition to 18 crowning the domestic league title. Not to mention that these players managed to win the Italian Cup on 5 different occasions. The real Milanese dominance began during the late 80s. And this followed the appointment of the Italian coach Arrigo Sacchi at the head of the technical leadership of the ancient Italian club. This partnership resulted in them winning the European Champions League on 3 occasions between 1989 and 1994. It is certain that football fans still remember the legendary Milan squad at the beginning of the current century, which included great players like Andrea Pirlo, Kaká, Paolo Maldini, and others. 2nd place, runner-up. The site ranked the Spanish club Barcelona won the runner-up position in this golden list due to its record of titles in recent decades. The Catalan club did not absurdly occupy this advanced position, but its historical culminations included winning the European Champions League on 5 occasions, as well as winning the Spanish League 25 times and the King's Cup 30 times. Despite the presence of great players such as Luis Suarez and Ladislao Kubala in its ranks, the Catalan club remained the shadow of Real Madrid during the 50s of the last century. Coach Frank Rijkaard also contributed to the leadership of Barcelona's European revelation in 2006 to mark the beginning of the Spanish team's domination of Europe, led by the legendary players such as Ronaldinho, Iniesta, and Lionel Messi. First place, Royal. According to the website, Real Madrid won the title of the best team in Royal history, the Spanish club that won the European Champions League on 13 different occasions, breaking records for the number of crowns in the most prestigious European competition ever. The Royal Club is the most crowned Spanish team in the local league with 33 titles, and with the beginning of its journey of glory in the 50s of the last century, the Royal managed to dominate Europe with distinction and win 5 European Champions League titles between 1956 and 1960. Thanks to the participation of a group of the best players in history, such as Alfredo Di Stefano, Raymond Kupa, and Ferenc Puskás. In conclusion, the side stressed the continuity of Real Madrid, which made it the best team in the history of football par excellence, as it always violated expectations and won its favorite European championship, similar to the period between 1998 and 2002, as well as 3 consecutive championships between 2016 and 2018.